Hello, boys and girls. I'm so grateful to be with you today. We are going to talk about one of my favorite stories in the Bible, and that is the story of Ruth. Okay, so let's jump in. Ruth is actually probably not the main character of our story today. Wild, right? But Ruth's mother-in-law, Naomi, is going to be the main character of our story. So Naomi and her husband, Elimelech, and their two sons, Mahlon and Chilion, there wasn't a lot of food in the area of Israel that they lived. So they left Israel and they went to a country called Moab. Now, God had told the people not to leave the land, but to trust him, that he would provide good things for them. But they left anyway. And when they went to Moab, Elimelech died. And Mahlon and Chilion, they got married, and for 10 years they lived in Moab. But soon Mahlon and Chilion died as well. That just left Naomi and Orpah and Ruth all alone. Well, Naomi heard that the famine was gone in the land of Israel, so they decided to go back. So they did. They went back to Israel. When they got there, they saw that the land was good. Oh, I missed a big important story point. Here we go. So Naomi and Ruth, since they were not Israelite people, Orpah and Ruth, since they were not Israelite people, Naomi told them to go back to their homes, to their moms and their dads, to stay with their moms and their dads. And Orpah went. She went back to her parents. But Ruth said, "Do not urge me to leave you or to return from following you. For where you go, I will go. Where you lodge, I will lodge. Your people shall be my people, and your God, my God. Where you die, I will die, and there will I be buried. May the Lord do so to me and more, if anything but death parts me from you." She said, "I will not leave you. Where you go, I will go. Where you stay, I will stay, and your God will be my God." And Ruth wanted to be a part of the Israelite traditions, so Naomi brought her back. When they got back to their house, they needed some food. They needed some way to get food, and there was a law back then that if you were a widow, you could go behind the harvesters as they gathered up the grain, and anything they dropped, you could pick up. So Ruth decided to go out and glean. That's what we call gleaning. So she went out to glean. And as she gleaned, the owner of the field took notice of her and asked, "Who is that?" And the man said, "That's the Moabite woman who came back with Naomi. And she's taking care of Naomi. She asked if she could glean here. And she's been doing it all day." And so Boaz saw Ruth doing this and was amazed at her. So he told her, don't go anywhere else. Only come and glean in the fields. He even invited her to have lunch with them, which they never did that with the widows. He invited her to have lunch with them, and they ate together. Naomi, when she heard that Ruth was gleaning in Boaz's field, said, "This is good. He is one of our redeemers." So when there were widows, the other relatives would come in and redeem the land and the possessions, or take care of the people and the land for the men who had died. And so Naomi knew that Boaz was a close enough relative that he was one of their redeemers. So Ruth kept going and gleaning at their field. Well, the time had come where they had harvested everything, and now they needed to prepare the grain for them to store it, to eat it. And so they were on what we call a threshing floor. That's where they would do that, prepare the grain. And when they did that, they stayed on the threshing floor so that they could protect the food that they had gleaned. And as they were there staying on the threshing floor, as they were sleeping, Naomi told Ruth to do something very special. She said, "Go get a bath, get yourself ready, put on your clothing, and go out to the threshing floor. Make sure that no one sees you. Go out to the threshing floor, remove the blanket from Boaz's feet and maybe some of his legs too, and then lay down there." So Ruth did. Boys and girls, this was going to be a little risky. If anybody found her out late that night, they could think that she was trying to do something bad. they could harm her for it. So Ruth went anyway because Naomi had told her to do it, and she trusted Naomi, and she trusted God. So she went to Boaz, she found him, she quietly moved the blanket off of his legs and laid down. The Bible doesn't tell us how long she laid there. All we know is that when Boaz he saw Ruth, and he said, "Who are you?" And Ruth said, "I am Ruth. Please spread your wings over us, take care of us, redeem us." And Boaz said that he would, except there was one relative who was closer than Boaz, who had the right to take their land, redeem their land first, and take care of them first. He said, "I need to talk to this man before I can redeem the land." So Ruth went home, and Naomi, with food that Boaz had given her, she went home. And Naomi said, "Just wait, he will take care of this today." And Boaz did. He went to the city gate where they did all of their business, and sure enough, this other relative came by. And Boaz said, "Wait, let us talk." And he explained that Elimelech and Mahlon and Chilion had died, and that Naomi was looking to have someone redeem their land or come to save them and take care of them. And the man said, "Yes, of course I want the land." He would add it to his own land and make his inheritance better. But then Boaz said, "Well, you know, if you redeem the land, that means you have to marry Ruth and have children with Ruth so that Elimelech's line can continue." The man said, "I don't want to marry Ruth because she is a Moabite." God had told the people not to marry Moabites, and so he was afraid of God's wrath. But he didn't believe that Ruth wanted to be like the Israelites. She wanted to obey the one true God, Yahweh. He didn't believe that. And so he did not want to marry Ruth. But Boaz wasn't afraid of that. So they did their little transaction, they did their little thing, and they weren't contracts back then that you could sign. Instead, to confirm that there had been a transaction, they would take off a shoe and they would give their sandal to the other person. So when Boaz got that sandal, he went and married Ruth right away, and they had a little baby boy. Now, this baby boy's name was Obed. Can we say that together? Obed. Now, Obed would be a very special baby because Obed, the Bible tells us, is the father of Jesse, and Jesse is the father of David. And David's going to be a really important character. Just you wait for a couple weeks and we see what David does. But God used Boaz to redeem or to buy back and take care of Naomi and Ruth. Now, you and I, we have a problem that we need to be redeemed from. And that problem is sin. The things that we think, say, or do that are not right in God's sight and that separate us from Him. We want to be near God. But God made a way so that we can be near Him. And that way is through Jesus. See, Jesus died on the cross for you and me to take our punishment. And He bought us back. And now He promises to take care of us. God is our Redeemer. If you don't understand what that means, ask your mom and dad, what does it mean that Jesus bought us back? And maybe they will be able to tell you a little bit more about what it means that Jesus has redeemed us. Boys and girls, God has redeemed us and brought us into His family to take care of us. And God used Ruth in a very special way. She was so loyal to Naomi. She was so loyal to her. And she did whatever it took, whatever it needed to stand by Naomi's side and to take care of her. Boys and girls, I hope that you are loyal too. I want us to be thankful for what God has done in our lives as well as for the story of Ruth when she asked Boaz to redeem them and to save them. He did. Let's pray together. Dear Jesus, thank you for redeeming Ruth. Thank you for giving Obed to them, and then Jesse, and then David, who we're going to see as a man after your own heart. God, I pray that the boys and girls and myself would be so grateful for what you have done for us. Lord, I pray that you would help us to be thankful to you and to be loyal to other people, to stay with them no matter what, that we would be able to be loyal to them. Thank you for the good things you're doing in our lives. In Jesus' name, amen.